Young firefighter saves beautiful millionaire CEO in Los Angeles City fire. Days later, love found them. The night sky over Los Angeles was illuminated by flames licking hungrily at the towering glass structure of the Bennett Tech headquarters. Thick black smoke billowed into the air, casting an ominous shadow over the bustling city. The blaring sirens of fire trucks echoed through the streets as firefighters rushed to the scene, their flashing red and blue lights reflecting off the nearby skyscrapers. Ryan Carter tightened the straps of his oxygen mask, his heart pounding in his chest, but his face a picture of calm focus. He'd seen fires before, many in fact, but each one brought its own challenges. And tonight was no different. Through the radio in his ear, the commanding officer's voice crackled with urgency. "Carter, we have a confirmed person trapped on the 20th floor. Female. CEO of the company. Named Sophia Bennett." Ryan exhaled sharply. Great, he thought. He'd heard of Sophia Bennett, the powerhouse businesswoman with a reputation for being ruthless in the boardroom. Now she was trapped in a burning building, and it was his job to get her out alive. Copy that. Heading up now, Ryan responded, signaling his team to follow. Inside the building, smoke filled the air, making visibility almost impossible. The fire crackled and roared, consuming everything in its path. Ryan moved quickly through the chaotic hallways, his breathing steady despite the oppressive heat. His eyes scanned the corridor, searching for any sign of movement. Suddenly, a faint cough echoed from behind a partially closed office door. He moved toward it, his boots crunching over debris. He tried the handle. It was locked. Taking a deep breath, he raised his axe and swung it forcefully. The door splintered under the impact, revealing a dimly lit office filled with smoke. Sophia Bennett stood near the window, her face streaked with soot, her designer suit crumpled and stained. Despite the fear in her eyes, she held herself with the composure of someone who refused to panic. She turned sharply at the sound of the broken door, relief flickering across her features. "You okay?" Ryan asked, stepping inside and moving toward her. Sophia coughed, nodding. I think so. The fire spread too fast. I couldn't get out in time." Ryan moved closer, his voice firm but reassuring. "I'm Ryan. I'm going to get you out of here. Stay close to me, and do exactly as I say, okay?" She nodded again, but there was skepticism in her gaze. "Are you sure we can make it?" Ryan met her eyes, his confidence unwavering. "I promise. Trust me." With one hand gently guiding her, Ryan led Sophia out into the smoke-filled corridor. Flames licked at the walls, the heat searing, making it hard to breathe even through their masks. As they hurried down the stairwell, an ominous cracking sound echoed above them. Ryan barely had time to react before a section of the ceiling gave way, crashing down onto the staircase, blocking their path. Sophia gasped, stumbling back. "What now?" Ryan quickly assessed their surroundings. "We find another way. Stay with me." They retraced their steps, moving through the maze like corridors of the burning building. The fire was relentless, and Ryan could feel Sophia's grip on his arm tightening with every step. Sweat trickled down his forehead as they navigated through the smoke, finally reaching an emergency exit. He kicked the door open, fresh air rushing in like a wave of relief. "We're almost there," he said, helping Sophia through the doorway and down the fire escape ladder. As they reached the bottom, Sophia's legs buckled beneath her. I can't breathe," she whispered, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Ryan caught her just in time, lowering her gently to the ground as paramedics rushed over. He pressed his fingers to her pulse, his brow furrowing with concern. "Stay with me, Sophia," he murmured, brushing a strand of soot-covered hair from her face. The paramedics administered oxygen, and slowly, color returned to her cheeks. After a few tense moments, her eyes fluttered open, and she found Ryan looking at her with concern. Their eyes met, and for a moment, the chaos around them seemed to fade away. There was something unspoken in the way he looked at her, reassurance, understanding, and something else she couldn't quite place. Sophia managed a weak smile. "You kept your promise." Ryan smiled back, his voice soft but steady. "I always do." As the paramedics took over, Ryan stood up, watching as they loaded Sophia into the ambulance. A sense of relief flooded through him, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the last time their paths would cross. And as Sophia was driven away, she found herself thinking the same thing. The grand conference hall of the Bennett Tech headquarters was filled with reporters, cameras flashing, and murmurs of anticipation. A few days had passed since the devastating fire, and now Sophia Bennett was standing at the podium, poised and elegant, ready to address the media. Her crisp white blazer contrasted with her usual commanding presence, but there was a subtle weariness in her eyes, one that only those who had been through a life-threatening event could understand. As she spoke about the damage assessment and the company's plans for recovery, Ryan Carter stood quietly near the back of the hall. He tugged at the collar of his formal shirt, far too stiff and uncomfortable compared to his usual fire gear. The event was worlds away from his everyday life of adrenaline and danger. The grand chandeliers, the impeccably dressed executives, and the soft clinking of champagne glasses all felt foreign to him. Ryan had been invited as a special guest, a recognition of his heroic act, but he wasn't one for the spotlight. He shifted uncomfortably, wishing he could slip out unnoticed. And lastly, I want to extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Los Angeles Fire Department. Sophia's voice rang through the hall, cutting through his thoughts. Their bravery saved not only our building but also my life. Ryan looked up, meeting her gaze from across the room. For a brief moment, their eyes locked, and Sophia's expression softened. She paused, and then, as if drawn by some unseen force, she stepped down from the stage and made her way through the crowd directly toward him. Ryan swallowed hard, suddenly feeling all eyes on him. "Ryan," she said, standing in front of him, her voice filled with warmth he hadn't expected. "I'm so glad you came." He gave a polite nod, trying to keep his composure. "I almost didn't. This isn't exactly my scene." Sophia smiled, and for the first time that night, it wasn't the polished CEO smile she often wore. It was genuine. "I understand. But I really wanted the chance to thank you properly." Ryan shrugged, his tone humble. "Just doing my job, ma'am." Sophia raised an eyebrow. "Ma. That makes me sound ancient." A small smirk tugged at the corner of Ryan's lips. "Old habits." She laughed softly. "Well, Ryan, your job saved my life, and I'd really like to buy you a cup of coffee, if you don't mind." Ryan hesitated. He wasn't used to this kind of attention, let alone having a high-profile CEO offering to buy him coffee. But there was something about her, something real beneath the polished exterior. "I guess I could use a break from all this," he said, gesturing to the lavish setting around them. Sophia smiled, relief evident in her eyes. "Perfect. There's a cafe around the corner, much less intimidating than this." 15 minutes later, they sat across from each other at a quiet little cafe just a block away from the towering headquarters. The stark contrast between the lavish event and the cozy shop made Ryan feel a little more at ease. He stirred his coffee, glancing at Sophia, who seemed equally relieved to escape the corporate chaos. "I have to admit," Sophia said, wrapping her hands around her cup, "I didn't expect someone like you to be so reserved." Ryan arched an eyebrow. "Someone like me?" She smirked. "A firefighter. I imagined you'd be more, I don't know, larger than life." Ryan chuckled. "Sorry to disappoint. I prefer to keep things simple." Sophia nodded thoughtfully. "I envy that sometimes." Ryan studied her carefully. "Why's that? You seem like you've got it all figured out." Sophia let out a soft laugh, shaking her head. "Not even close. My life's complicated. Running a company, dealing with constant pressure, expectations, sometimes it feels like I can't catch a breath." Ryan leaned back, sipping his coffee. "I get that. Different kind of pressure, but same feeling. Firefighting's not just about charging into burning buildings. There's a lot more to it, losing people, the weight of responsibility." Sophia met his eyes, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "I guess we're not so different after all." Ryan gave a small nod. "Maybe not." For a moment, silence stretched between them, but it was comfortable, like they were both processing what it meant to be sitting there, two people from different worlds finding common ground. Sophia looked down at her coffee, stirring it absent-mindedly. "You know, you're different from the people I usually meet." Ryan chuckled. "Let me guess, most of them are more into stock prices than smoke alarms." She laughed, the sound light and genuine. "Exactly." Ryan smiled. "Well, I don't know much about stock prices, but I can tell you the best way to escape a burning building." Sophia grinned. "I think I'll stick with you if that ever happens again." Ryan's gaze softened. "Let's hope it doesn't." As they left the cafe and stepped back into the bustling streets of Los Angeles, Sophia turned to Ryan with a thoughtful look. "Thanks for the coffee. I really needed that." Ryan smiled. "Anytime." She hesitated for a second before adding, "Maybe next time, it won't take a fire for us to run into each other." Ryan's smirk returned. "Maybe." As Sophia walked back toward her world of high-stakes business and flashing cameras, Ryan watched her go, feeling something stir inside him, something unfamiliar yet strangely welcome. And for the first time in a long time, Sophia felt a sense of calm she hadn't experienced in years. Over the next few weeks, Sophia and Ryan continued to see each other, their connection growing stronger with each meeting. They shared meals, late-night phone calls, and long walks through the quieter streets of Los Angeles. But as their worlds began to overlap, so did the differences between them, differences neither could ignore. One Saturday afternoon, Ryan invited Sophia to visit Station 27, the firehouse where he spent most of his time. She hesitated at first, but curiosity got the best of her. Dressed in designer jeans and a sleek blazer, she felt slightly out of place the moment she stepped into the bustling station. The place smelled of smoke, coffee, and sweat. Firefighters moved around with purpose, shouting instructions and laughter bouncing off the walls. Ryan walked beside her, completely in his element, wearing a simple navy blue shirt and cargo pants. "Welcome to my world," he said with a grin, leading her past the red fire trucks gleaming under the fluorescent lights. Sophia looked around, trying not to wrinkle her nose at the strong scent of smoke that seemed permanently ingrained in the air. "It's different," she admitted with a smile. Ryan chuckled. "Yeah, I figured it might not be your usual crowd." As they walked through the station, he introduced her to his colleagues, all of whom seemed genuinely intrigued by her presence. They exchanged teasing remarks about Ryan finally bringing someone over, making him shake his head in mild embarrassment. "Ignore them," he muttered under his breath. Sophia laughed, feeling oddly welcomed by their warmth. She watched as Ryan demonstrated how their equipment worked, explaining the daily drills and routines that kept them prepared for any emergency. At one point, Sophia found herself in the kitchen, where the firefighters were gathered around a large, worn table, sharing stories over a hearty home-cooked meal. "You guys actually cook here?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. Ryan smirked. "Yeah, we're more than just pretty faces." Sophia took a seat, listening as they joked and talked about their calls, their families, and the camaraderie that kept them going. It was simple, but there was a depth to their bond that she found fascinating. Later, as the two sat on the station's rooftop, looking over the city skyline, Ryan opened up in a way he hadn't before. "I became a firefighter because of my dad," he said quietly, staring at the horizon. "He died in a house fire when I was 15. It took the firefighters too long to get there, and I always thought, if someone had been faster, maybe he would have made it." Sophia reached out, placing a gentle hand on his. "I'm so sorry, Ryan." He looked at her, a soft smile on his lips. "It's okay. It pushed me to do something that matters. Saving lives. It's more than a job to me." Sophia felt her heart ache for him. "And you're incredible at it." Ryan chuckled. "I try." She looked out at the skyline, feeling the weight of his words. "I wish I could say I chose my path for something that noble." Ryan turned to her, curious. "Why did you?" Sophia sighed. "My father built Bennett Tech from the ground up. I had no choice but to step into his shoes. Everyone expects me to be perfect, to never fail." Ryan studied her for a moment. "And what do you want?" Sophia hesitated. "I don't know anymore." They sat in silence for a while, the city buzzing below them, two people from different worlds trying to find common ground. A week later, Sophia invited Ryan to a high-profile gala her company was hosting. The event was a glamorous affair, chandeliers sparkled, champagne flowed, and every guest was dressed in designer labels. Ryan, clad in a tailored suit that felt stiff and unfamiliar, stood awkwardly by the bar, watching as Sophia effortlessly navigated the crowd. She moved with confidence, exchanging pleasantries with influential figures, laughing at jokes he didn't understand. Ryan couldn't help but feel out of place, a fireman surrounded by billionaires and socialites. Sophia eventually made her way over to him, a radiant smile on her face. "Having fun?" Ryan forced a smile. "Yeah, it's something." She laughed softly, placing a hand on his arm. "I know it's not exactly your scene." He looked around, nodding toward a group of executives deep in conversation about stocks and acquisitions. "Yeah, no offense, but I don't think I'll be investing in anything anytime soon." Sophia squeezed his arm. "You don't have to. Just be here with me." Ryan tried, but with every passing minute, he felt more like an outsider. Eventually, he excused himself to get some air, stepping outside onto the grand balcony overlooking the city. Sophia found him a few minutes later, concern in her eyes. "Ryan, you okay?" He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. Yeah, this isn't me, Sophia. I feel like I don't belong here. She bit her lip, looking away. I know. And I don't want you to feel that way. Ryan nodded. I think we're just too different, you know? I'm not sure I fit into your world. Sophia felt a pang in her chest. She had tried so hard to bring him into her life, but maybe it wasn't enough. Ryan, He offered her a small smile. Don't worry. I just need some time. Before she could say anything else, Ryan leaned in and kissed her forehead softly. Enjoy your night, Sophia. I'll see you soon. As he walked away, Sophia stood there, watching him go, the weight of their differences suddenly feeling heavier than ever. And for the first time, she wondered if love alone would be enough to bridge the gap between their two worlds. Late one afternoon, as the sun cast long shadows over Los Angeles, Sophia found herself standing outside Station 27, a place she never thought she would return to. She adjusted the designer sunglasses perched on her nose and took a deep breath before stepping inside. The familiar scent of smoke and burnt rubber hit her immediately, but this time it felt oddly comforting. She scanned the busy firehouse, searching for Ryan amidst the firefighters bustling about. Finally, she spotted him near the truck bay, laughing with one of his colleagues as they cleaned a fire hose. Ryan glanced up and, for a split second, surprise flashed across his face before he composed himself and approached her with his signature easygoing smile. Sophia, he said, wiping his hands on a towel. Didn't think I'd see you here again. Sophia offered a small smile. I needed to talk to you. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Everything okay? She nodded but hesitated. I think so, but I need a break from all of it. Ryan studied her for a moment, then gestured toward the door. Come on, I know just the place. Minutes later, they were walking along the beach, the cool ocean breeze gently tousling Sophia's hair. The rhythmic crashing of the waves was a stark contrast to the constant buzz of boardrooms and ringing phones she was used to. Ryan walked beside her, hands in his pockets, content with the silence between them. Finally, Sophia spoke. You know, I never realized how exhausting it would be. Running a company, she admitted, her voice softer than usual. Ryan glanced at her. It's a lot of weight to carry. She nodded. When my father passed, I didn't have a choice. I had to take over. Everyone expected me to succeed, to be perfect. And for the longest time, I thought if I just worked hard enough, I could prove myself. But lately, I feel like I'm losing myself. Ryan watched her carefully, sensing the vulnerability behind her words. Sophia, you don't have to prove anything to anyone. You're already enough. Sophia smiled wistfully. That's easy for you to say. You seem to have it all figured out. Ryan shook his head, chuckling. Not even close. I've made my share of mistakes. Sophia looked at him curiously. Like what? He hesitated for a moment before answering. I was in a relationship once, a long time ago. She came from a different world, like you. Fancy parties, expensive taste. I thought I could fit in, but in the end, it didn't work. We were just too different. Sophia frowned. And now, do you think we're too different? Ryan glanced at her, his expression thoughtful. Honestly, I don't know. But I do know that I like being around you, Sophia. And I'm willing to figure it out. Sophia felt a warmth spread through her chest. I like being around you too, Ryan. You make things feel real. He smiled. That's because they are. The next day, Sophia found herself back at the fire station, invited by Ryan to observe an educational event for children. She watched from the sidelines as Ryan crouched next to a young boy who looked terrified, his small hands trembling as he stared at the firefighter's gear in front of him. Ryan's voice was soft but encouraging. Hey, buddy, it's okay. I know fire can be scary, but we're here to help, not to hurt. The boy hesitated before nodding, and Ryan patiently showed him how the equipment worked, letting him try on the oversized helmet. The child's eyes lit up with excitement, and Sophia felt something stir deep inside her. She wasn't used to seeing kindness so unfiltered, so pure. In her world, people helped others for publicity, for profit, but Ryan did it simply because he cared. And that realization hit her harder than she expected. Later, as Ryan walked over to her, Sophia smiled. You're really good with them. Ryan shrugged. Just takes a little patience. Sometimes people need someone to believe in them. Sophia's gaze softened. I think that's what I've been missing, someone to believe in me. Ryan reached for her hand, squeezing it gently. I believe in you, Sophia. For the first time in a long time, She felt like she could finally breathe. And she realized that it wasn't just Ryan's courage that drew her in, it was his heart. Sophia sat in her office, staring at the glaring headline plastered across her laptop screen. Billionaire CEO Sophia Bennett caught in secret romance with Firefighter, a love story or a scandal. Her heart pounded in her chest as she scrolled through the article, each word feeling like a weight pressing down on her shoulders. The media had twisted the story, making it sound like she was slumming it with someone beneath her status. Phrases like "not a suitable match" and "damaging to her brand" were scattered throughout, making her stomach churn. A sharp knock on the door broke her out of her thoughts. It was David Langston, one of her company's most influential board members, followed closely by a few others. Their expressions were grim, and Sophia knew exactly why they were there. "Sophia," David began, closing the door behind him. "We need to talk." Sophia took a deep breath and gestured for them to sit. "I'm guessing you've seen the article." David leaned forward, placing his hands on her desk. "Of course we have, and so has every investor and stakeholder tied to this company." His voice was calm, but laced with disapproval. "Sophia, you're the face of Bennett Tech. Your image is everything." One of the other board members, an older woman with a stern expression, chimed in. "Dating a firefighter, while admirable on a personal level, doesn't exactly align with the expectations people have of you." Sophia clenched her fists under the desk, her patience wearing thin. "So what are you saying?" "That I should end things with Ryan because it doesn't fit into your perfect PR narrative." David sighed. "We're saying that perception is important. Investors might see this as a sign that you're distracted, that you're not focused on the company. And if that happens, the stock prices could take a hit." Sophia swallowed hard, feeling the weight of their words pressing down on her. She had worked so hard to maintain her company's pristine reputation, and now it felt like it was slipping through her fingers. For the next few days, Sophia buried herself in work, avoiding Ryan's calls and texts. She told herself it was for the best, that she needed to protect everything she had built. But deep down, the thought of pushing Ryan away gnawed at her. One evening, as she sat in her penthouse staring out at the glittering city skyline, her phone vibrated. It was a message from Ryan. "Hey, haven't heard from you in a while. Hope everything's okay. Let me know when you have time to talk." Sophia sighed, her fingers hovering over the screen before she finally set the phone down. She wasn't ready to face him. A few days later, Ryan showed up at Bennett Tech unexpectedly. Sophia looked up from her desk to find him standing in the doorway, his expression a mix of concern and disappointment. He was still in his firefighter uniform, a stark contrast to the sleek, modern office around him. "Hey," he said softly, "got a minute?" Sophia's stomach twisted with guilt. "Ryan, I'm sorry. Things have been complicated." Ryan stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "Yeah, I figured. The article, the board, all of it." He ran a hand through his hair. "Look, I get it. You have a lot to lose, and I don't want to be the reason things get harder for you." Sophia looked down at her hands. I don't know how to balance this, Ryan." He nodded slowly, his eyes searching hers. "I'm not mad, Sophia. I just need to know, are we doing this or not?" Sophia felt tears sting her eyes. "I don't know." Ryan's jaw tensed, and after a long pause he gave her a small sad smile. "Take your time. Just don't take too long." With that he turned and walked out, leaving Sophia feeling more conflicted than ever. Later that night, Sophia sat in her apartment, drowning in self-doubt. She had spent years building an empire, fighting for respect in a male-dominated industry, and now she was at a crossroads. As she nursed a glass of wine, her best friend Jessica called. "Soph, what's going on?" Jessica's voice was gentle but firm. "I saw the article, and I saw the way you've been avoiding Ryan." Sophia sighed. "Jess, it's complicated." Jessica didn't hesitate. "No, it's not. The question is simple. Do you love him?" Sophia's throat tightened. "I do." "Then why are you letting other people decide what's right for you?" Jessica pressed. "Soph, I've known you for years. You're one of the toughest, smartest women I know. But you can't live your life according to a PR strategy." Sophia wiped a tear from her cheek. "But what if they're right? What if I ruin everything?" Jessica's voice softened. "And what if you're ruining something even more important by pushing him away?" Sophia was silent, her mind racing. Jessica sighed. "Look, if Ryan makes you happy, fight for him. Don't let fear make the decision for you." Sophia closed her eyes, realizing the truth in her friend's words. Maybe, just maybe, she was holding on to the wrong things. The next day, Sophia stood in front of the mirror, straightening her blazer with determination in her eyes. She had made her decision. Arriving at the fire station, she found Ryan cleaning the truck, his expression unreadable when he saw her. Sophia took a deep breath. "Ryan, I'm sorry. I let fear control me, and I almost lost something I really care about." Ryan crossed his arms. "And what's that?" She stepped closer. "You." His features softened, but he stayed silent. "I know my world is complicated, and I know it won't be easy, but I don't care what the press or the board thinks. I want to be with you." Ryan studied her for a moment before a slow smile spread across his face. "You sure? Because I come with a lot of smoke and not a lot of luxury." Sophia laughed, relief washing over her. "I think I can handle a little smoke." Ryan grinned, pulling her into his arms. "Good. Because I'm not going anywhere." Sophia leaned into him, finally feeling like she was exactly where she belonged. The studio lights were blinding, and the cameras were set up in every corner of the grand conference hall at Bennett Tech headquarters. Sophia sat poised in her chair, a flawless mask of confidence on her face, though inside, her heart was racing. This was it, the moment she would finally face the world, and more importantly, face herself. The host, a well-known business journalist, adjusted his microphone and smiled professionally. "Ms. Bennett, thank you for joining us today. There's been a lot of buzz surrounding your recent success in rebuilding after the fire, but I think what everyone really wants to know is," he leaned in slightly, his eyes gleaming with curiosity, "is it true that you're dating a firefighter?" The room fell silent. Sophia took a deep breath, her hands tightening slightly on the armrests. She had rehearsed this moment in her head 100 times, but nothing compared to actually saying the words aloud. "Yes," she said, her voice steady. "It's true. I'm in a relationship with Ryan Carter, a firefighter with the Los Angeles Fire Department." Murmurs rippled through the audience, and flashes from photographers' cameras lit up the room. The journalist looked intrigued but pressed on. "And how do you respond to critics who say this relationship could be distracting? Some of your shareholders have expressed concerns about how this might affect your leadership." Sophia straightened her shoulders, her gaze unwavering. "I understand their concerns, and I respect their opinions," she began, her voice gaining strength. "But at the end of the day, I'm more than just a CEO. I'm a person, and I refuse to let my personal happiness be dictated by corporate expectations." A murmur of approval spread through the crowd. Sophia continued, her words firm yet heartfelt. "Ryan has shown me what it means to live life with courage, honesty, and heart. Qualities that I believe make me a better leader, not a weaker one." The host smiled, clearly impressed. "That's quite a bold statement, Ms. Bennett. Does this mean you're willing to risk your career for love?" Sophia hesitated only for a second before answering with a quiet smile. "Love isn't a risk. It's a choice. And I choose Ryan." As she finished speaking, a movement in the shadows behind the stage caught her eye. Ryan. Standing just beyond the stage lights, dressed in his firefighter uniform, he watched her with an unreadable expression. His presence steadied her, anchoring her in a moment that could have easily overwhelmed her. Sophia felt a surge of relief and warmth. Seeing him there, standing silently but supportively, made her realize she had chosen correctly. The journalist, sensing the emotional gravity in the room, leaned back. "Well, I think it's safe to say you've won over more than a few hearts today, Ms. Bennett." Sophia smiled, a genuine, radiant smile that lit up the room. "Thank you. I just hope people see that behind the title and the headlines, I'm just a woman who found someone worth fighting for." Applause erupted from the audience, and for the first time in weeks, Sophia felt a weight lift from her chest. After the interview, Sophia stepped off the stage and walked straight toward Ryan, who was leaning casually against the wall, arms crossed over his chest, an amused smile tugging at his lips. "So, you really went for it, huh?" he said. Sophia sighed, smiling. "I meant every word." Ryan studied her for a moment before pulling her into a gentle hug. "I'm proud of you, Soph." She rested her head against his chest, breathing in the comforting scent of him. "I was afraid for a while," she admitted, "but standing up there, knowing you were here, it made all the difference." Ryan pressed a kiss to her forehead. "I'll always be here. Fancy boardrooms and cameras aren't exactly my thing, but for you, I'll make an exception." Sophia laughed softly, feeling more at home in his arms than she ever did in the highest office of her company. A few days later, Bennett Tech released a statement reaffirming Sophia's commitment to the company and addressing the media frenzy surrounding her relationship. While some shareholders voiced their dissent, the overwhelming response from employees and the public was one of admiration for her honesty and courage. Sophia walked through the company hallways to find employees smiling at her, some even whispering words of encouragement. It wasn't the scandal everyone expected, it was a testament to her humanity. Later that evening, she and Ryan sat on her apartment balcony, looking out at the city lights. "You know," she said, sipping her wine, "I used to think love and business didn't mix, that I'd have to choose one or the other." Ryan smiled, draping an arm around her shoulders. "And now?" Sophia leaned into him, her voice full of quiet certainty. "Now I know I can have both, and I wouldn't trade it for anything." Ryan chuckled. "Guess we're in this together then." Sophia looked up at him, her eyes full of love. "Yeah, we are." And with that, they clinked their glasses, looking forward to whatever the future held together. Life had settled into a new rhythm for Sophia and Ryan, a delicate balance between boardrooms and fire stations, late-night meetings and emergency calls, luxury dinners and simple home-cooked meals. Somehow, they made it work. Sophia found herself embracing the quieter moments of life that she had once overlooked. Morning coffee with Ryan before his shifts, weekend hikes away from the city, and cozy nights watching old movies, instead of reviewing quarterly reports. She was still the sharp, ambitious CEO, but now she was also a woman who knew how to slow down and appreciate the small joys. Ryan, on the other hand, continued his work as a firefighter with the same dedication as always, but there was a newfound sense of peace within him. Sophia had become his biggest supporter, showing up to fire station events and even learning the ins and outs of his unpredictable schedule. Despite their vastly different worlds, they found a way to meet in the middle. One evening, the grand ballroom of the Beverly Hills Hotel buzzed with energy as Sophia hosted a charity gala for the Los Angeles Fire Department. Dressed in an elegant, deep blue gown, she moved gracefully through the crowd, shaking hands and thanking donors. Tonight wasn't just another corporate function, it was personal. Ryan stood nearby, dressed in his formal fire department dress blues, feeling slightly out of place among the elite guests. But seeing Sophia shine, speaking so passionately about the firefighters who risked their lives daily, made him feel proud beyond words. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sophia's voice rang through the microphone, capturing everyone's attention. "Tonight we gather not just to raise funds, but to honor the bravery and dedication of those who put their lives on the line for our safety. These men and women, like my partner Ryan Carter, are the true heroes of this city." Applause erupted through the room, and Ryan felt his face heat up as Sophia's eyes met his from across the hall. She smiled warmly, and he gave her a subtle nod of appreciation. By the end of the night, the fundraiser had surpassed expectations, securing enough funds to provide state-of-the-art equipment for fire stations across Los Angeles. As the crowd thinned, Sophia walked over to Ryan, slipping her hand into his. "So, what do you think?" she asked. Ryan chuckled. "I think you're amazing." Sophia leaned in. "I think we make a pretty good team." Ryan smiled, pulling her close. "Yeah, we do." Later that night, they found themselves on the rooftop of Sophia's penthouse, a place that had become their escape from the chaos of their busy lives. The city sprawled out beneath them, lights twinkling like stars. Sophia leaned against the railing, taking in the view. "You know," she said softly, "I used to think love and ambition couldn't coexist, that I had to choose one or the other." Ryan slid an arm around her waist. "And now?" She turned to him, eyes full of warmth. "Now I know I can have both, with the right person." Ryan smirked. "So you're saying I'm the right person?" Sophia laughed, resting her head on his shoulder. "No doubt about it." They stood there in silence for a while, wrapped in the comfort of each other's presence. After a moment, Ryan spoke. "So what's next for us, Miss CEO?" Sophia smiled. "Whatever comes our way, Mr. Firefighter." As they stood there, looking out over the city they both loved, they knew that despite coming from different worlds, they had found something rare and beautiful, something worth holding on to. And in that moment, they realized that love, when real, could bridge any gap, defy any expectation, and thrive in even the most unexpected of places. And so, Sophia and Ryan's story proves that love knows no boundaries, not of wealth, status, or lifestyle. When two people are willing to meet in the middle, support each other, and embrace the beauty in their differences, they can build something truly special. If you enjoyed this heartwarming story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Soul-Stirring Stories, where we bring you touching tales of love, resilience, and the human spirit. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story that will warm your heart and inspire your soul. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes love finds us in the most unexpected places. See you in the next story.